Good morning, everyone. It's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. I have the paper pumpkin kit, which is called Beyond the Horizon, and this was the March paper pumpkin kit. So in this kit, we actually got two different stamp sets. So today I'm going to share some ideas with you featuring the free stamp set or the gift that we got. So this is the first stamp set. This is the stamp set that we used to create the projects in the kit. So this is one of the exclusive stamp sets. And then we got a bonus stamp set in the kit, which is this one. It has some beautiful florals in it and just some really great greetings and sentiments. So I'm actually going to use this stamp set today, not the other one that I used to create the projects. We're going to use this one. I'm going to show you some fun little ideas for using that extra stamp set that we got in this month's kit or last month's kit. So good morning, everybody. So if you're just joining, this is what we're talking about. I'm talking about the Beyond the Horizon paper pumpkin kit. I'm actually not going to show you projects created with this kit. I'm going to show you projects created with this stamp set, the extra stamp set that we got in the kit. So that's what I have for you today. So what I decided to do was I decided to kind of pair this kit up with the stitched greenery die. Let me just open this. So this is what the die looks like. I'll just take it out. So it basically just embosses in the front of, like I did it on the card front and then I did it on a couple extra pieces of paper, but it embosses this design into your cardstock. So it's not like your normal die where it cuts, like it cuts a circle shape or something like that. This actually does like embossing. So I'm going to show you some projects created with this. So good morning, everybody. So just to give you an idea, this is one of the cards. You can see how it embossed this design right into the card front. So it's kind of cool. All right, so let me show you how to make these cards. So I'm going to set these aside and we'll just start with this one. So what I did is there's a very large floral. Now I lost my stamp set. Here it is. There's a very large floral in the set. I'll lay it down here. And it's like a two-step stamping. So you stamp with the large floral, which has like the solid image. And then there's like this overlay image where you can add a little bit more detail. So that's what I did with this floral. And I already did the stamping. So I basically used Calypso Coral and I just stamped the image first using, that large image. I did a stamp off technique. I'll show you that on the next card that I have for you. But I already stamped the floral, added the little overlay, and then I just cut this out by hand so that I could use it as a little embellishment on the card. But I'm just going to start here with our card base. So this is just your standard card base. So this is 5.5 by 8.5. And I scored it in the middle at 4.25 to create the base of my card. And then I just laid that die on top of this and ran it through my embossing machine. So I don't know if you can see all the detail in there. It's just really pretty. Gives it a nice little texture for the front of your card. So the next thing I did is just cut a 2 by 4-inch piece of vellum. So I added a little bit of vellum just to kind of mute the background a little bit so it wasn't so bright. So the vellum just kind of helps add, just a little bit of layering and kind of mutes the background a little bit. So I'll add that right in the center. And then you guys know I love to use these doilies. So I'm using the Heart and Home doilies. Now this is a brand new bottle of ink. There we go. Brand new bottle of glue. So I'm just using the white side of the doily. So the Heart and Home doilies come in 3 different colors. I like to use the white side. So I just added that to the center. So these are pretty easy cards that you can use with really any florals that you have. So if you didn't get this month's paper or last month's paper pumpkin kit, you know, you can just use whatever florals you have to decorate your card. So I'm just popping up that large floral. And then I cut out a couple little leaves. So with that stamp set, there's a couple leaf images that I cut out. And so I'm just going to tuck those around the floral. So I stamped these on a scrap piece of white cardstock, just using some Pear Pizzazz ink. And then I just cut these out with my scissors. So you can just kind of tuck those in there. And then we'll tuck this one under here. There we go. And then I've been on a mission to use up my scrap pieces of paper. So I'm using all the paper that I'm using. The designer paper is from the Pansy Petals Designer Series paper packs. So I've been using up some scraps. And that's what I have here. So I'm just going to add this piece. This is just a 1/2 inch wide by 3 3/4 inches. So I'm just going to add it right across the bottom part here of this floral. And I'm going to add a little dimensional right here. So I just added dimensionals on each side. And we'll add that. So this just has a lot of different layering, but it's pretty simple. So now I'm going to add my little ribbon. I'm just going to add it right on the back of my greeting. So it's a great way to use up your ribbon too, is just to use it as a little embellishment or add it to your greetings. So this is one of the stamps from that set that I'm using, that Time to Celebrate. So we'll just layer that right on top. I have to cut a couple dimensionals though. So I don't know if did any of you guys get the paper pumpkin? Just leave me a comment. Let me know if you got this last month's paper pumpkin. I seem to get mine a little bit later in the month. Everybody else seems to have their kit and I'm still waiting for mine. That's me. So I usually never get to put it together until the end of the month, or in this case, the beginning of the next month. All right, so I'm going to add this little greeting here on the bottom. And then you can just trim up some of the ribbon so it's not hanging off your card. Oops, I added that a little crooked. Okay, and then the last thing I did is I just used some of these brushed brass butterflies. Say that 10 times fast. So I haven't used these, and I thought, oh, this would be perfect for this card. So I'm just going to add a couple of these on the card. So they just kind of finish off the card really nice. So that's what the first card design looks like. So you can see how easy that is to just put that together and just layer it. I added some more scrap paper on the inside just to decorate the inside of the card, but this is one of my favorites. It's just simple little focal point for the front of the card. Okay, so let's grab this next one. So this next one, here's where I'll show you how to use that stamp set. So this is basically I just used that large floral in the background and then created just a small focal point for the front of the card. So we'll start with this. And I'm using the same card base. I'm using white and same size for all of these cards. So I gotta find my scrap paper here. There we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start stamping with this large floral, the solid shaped one. So I'm going to be using Calypso Coral, and I just re-inked my pad, so this may be very juicy. We'll see. We'll see how this works. So I ink it up, and then I'm going to fix that, ink this up. And then I'm stamping off first, and then I'm going to stamp it up on the corner. Let's see, we'll go right about there. So that makes it a little bit lighter. Oh, I have a little thing on here. So that, lightens the image a little bit so that when I go to put the overlay on it, the overlay will show up better because I'm going to use the same color to overlay. So now we'll just add this one here. And then we'll add two more. So I notice how I'm stamping off first. And then, let's see, we'll put it like this. Get that in there. Usually I over ink my pads, but it looks like I did a pretty good job this time. I didn't put too much on there. All right, and then this one will go right off the side here. All right, so that's what the basic background looks like. So now I'm just going to ink this up. We're not going to stamp off again. We're just going to use this full strength and overlay it onto the images that I just stamped. So you can see how it darkens it up. And this one goes right about here. So these overlay stamps are one of my favorites to use. I really like these. I know not everybody likes them, but they're pretty easy to use. You don't have to be perfect with them. And I have ink everywhere. That's okay. That's okay. I have ink all over my block. All right, so there we go. So that's what it looks like. So let's move this out of the way. And then I'm going to add some of the little leaves around there. So I'm going to use some Pear Pizzazz. And then we'll just add a couple leaves. Oh, I think I need that paper back. We'll do it this way. I think I need that paper since I'm going to go off the edge a little bit. So we'll add a little leaves up here. And we'll just kind of try to tuck them in different spots. Let's see. Kind of go in here. And maybe we'll add another one here. That should be good. Okay, now I think we're ready. So you can do this with any images that you have. So again, you don't necessarily have to have the stamp set that I'm using. If you have floral images, you can do this with any of your stamp sets. So now I just took a doily, one of my little doilies here, and I just cut out this is 2¼ inch circle shape just to adhere to the front. So this is cut from that Pansy Petals Designer Series paper. So you can see the pansies on the back. We'll just lay that in the center. And then I'm going to pop this up on the card. There we go. So we'll add a couple. All right, so then this will just get popped up right on the card front. And then I just use one of my punches to add, for the greeting. So you can use any punch shape that you want. And I just took a little bit of ribbon and I just accordion fold this ribbon back and forth. So just like that. And then this is just going to go right on the back of where my greeting is. So I'm actually just going to use a little bit of washi tape just to adhere that. And then we'll just trim this down a little bit. So that's another fun way to use your ribbon, and then you can just adhere it to your card. So I'm going to get a couple of dimensionals and do that. So when I adhere my dimensionals, I kind of overlap them onto the ribbon a little bit, just to kind of hold everything in place. Otherwise, you can pull the ribbon right out with just the washi tape. Ask me how I know that. All right, so let's add this right in the center. And then I just took one of those little florals from this set and I just stamped it on a scrap piece of paper and then just cut it out to use it as a little embellishment. So let's see if we can tuck that in there. And then of course the last thing is to add some of these little butterflies. So I think the butterflies really just accent this nicely with that calypso and, these little brass butterflies. So there you go. And then on the inside, I just used up some scrap pieces of paper just to decorate the inside. You could also stamp your images. You could stamp a little floral up here in the corner just to decorate the inside. All right. So that is card number 2. I really had fun with this set. Can you guys tell? All right. So now let's do this one. So this is another one where I used that greenery die, the embossing kind of die, to decorate the front of the card. So let me grab these. So again, it's the same size card base that I've been using for the other 2 cards. So this time I'm going to adhere a piece of designer paper kind of on the left. So this is just, well, let's turn it around. This is just a 2 by 5.5 inch piece. So I'm just going to adhere it off to the left a little bit, leave a little bit of white showing. So I didn't go completely to the edge, I just left a little bit of white. And then I've got my little vellum here just to kind of break up some of the colors. So I'm just going to add my vellum. So this is just a 2 by 4 inch piece. Let's go right about there. And then I have my yellow patterned paper. So this is also from the Pansy Petals. This is just a 2 by 3.5 inch piece. So if you guys have a lot of scraps, this is a great way to use up your scraps because that's exactly what I did to create these cards. So you just add that. And then we just add our floral arrangement again. So here I have another Heart and Home doily. This one's gray on the back. So I just add that to create my focal point. And then the florals that I stamped on the last card, I just created, my little focal points, stamped them on a scrap piece of paper, and then I just cut them out with a scissors. They're pretty easy to cut out. You don't have to cut directly. Notice how I have like a little white edge here around there. You don't have to cut directly to the color. You can leave a little bit of white on there. It actually looks really nice that way. And then we'll just tuck a couple of leaves in here again just to add a little bit of color. So we'll tuck the big leaves up there, and then I'll add these smaller ones down on the bottom. Let's see, we'll get that under there. There we go. And then we're just going to add our little greeting. So I just did my greeting kind of right across, the center of the card. So I have to get a little dimensional here. Let's see. I'm going to put a little dimensional right on the side. And then the rest I'm just going to add glue to. So I already popped up my flower. So I don't want to pop up the greeting too, because that'll be too much. So I'm just laying the greeting directly on top of it. And then we'll just add a couple more butterflies. So we'll add one here, and then we'll add one over here. And that's it. Simple little design. You can use any of your designer paper, any kind of focal point you want to create for your card, and you just have a really beautiful card. And then again, I used up my scrap paper on the inside. All right, so that is card number 3. And then the last card, I changed it up a little bit and I added some crumb cake cardstock. So besides, embossing the front of your card with this greenery die, you can also just emboss little individual pieces of cardstock as well. So that's what I did on this card. So the first thing I did, I'm just going to flatten this out here. Hang on. So the first thing I did is just cut, this is just a 2, I think it's, hold on, I'll measure it quick, 2 by 4.5 inch piece of pattern paper. So 2 by 4.5. And that's just going to go on the left side. And then this is the embossing that I did on that piece of crumb cake cardstock. So it's got those stitched leaves, which I really like. So this is just a 3 by 4 inch piece of cardstock. So I'm just going to adhere this right over the top of that other piece. So it adds a little bit of texture to your card front. Oops, and a little extra glue. All right, we'll give that a second. And then you just add your focal points. So just like I have been with these other 3 card ideas, we're just going to add our doily. And then we'll go ahead and add the floral. So we'll add that like that. And then we'll add our leaves. So I've just popped all these leaves up. Let's see, the bigger ones are on the bottom. So there's our leaves. And this one, and then our greeting. So I like to just kind of play around with the images, and cut them out. A lot of times the images are pretty easy to cut out by hand. It's a little bit putsy, but it's definitely worth, spending that little extra time to create the embellishment. So now if all the stamp sets came with dies, that'd be awesome, or punches. But they don't. So we improvise. And then we'll just add our little butterflies. And that's it. I really like those butterflies. So then you can tie some twine. Like on this one, I just wrapped some twine around the card twice and then just tied a little bow. Or you can leave it just as is. It's really pretty even without, the little bow added. And then again, I just added some designer paper on the inside. All right, so let me bring these back so that you can see them all again. So those are the 4 cards that I've created so far with this stamp set. So I'll show you the stamp set again. So this is the stamp set. This is the extra stamp set that came in the March paper pumpkin. So I I actually created these extra cards first before I actually put together the paper pumpkin kit. So I'll share some more ideas with you guys on how to use the actual stamp set that came in the paper pumpkin kit. So this is the actual stamp set that we use to create the projects in the kit. So I'll have some more ideas for you guys later this week. But I thought we would start with these. I just really like the color combinations. This is that yellow calypso coral and pear pizzazz. They just really work well together. So I hope you guys enjoyed these card ideas, and I will get these out on the blog later today. And then I will have some more card ideas to share with you featuring the other exclusive stamp set that came in the March kit. All right, you guys have a wonderful Sunday, and I will talk to you again next week. Take care, everybody.